I've never drilled into seashells before, but I wanted to give it a try here. So I looked it up. You just get a sponge and you pour some water into the shell, and then you drill and you apply quite a bit of pressure to get it going. I just kept going. It was a little bit spooky getting started because I didn't want to crack the shell or anything like that. But once I got it started, I realized it was really not that bad. So drill, and then at some point it finally gives and a little hole is formed. I'm like halfway there. But I wanted to make this video showing the process of me just drilling holes in about 50 seashells for my preschool classes, and talking a little bit about some behavior management techniques I use. There's a little hole. We're going to use these this week so the kids can paint them with acrylic paint and then make little necklaces out of them. So I got 50 to do, and while you're watching me do these, I got them off Amazon. While you're watching me do these, I want to talk a little bit about emotional regulation in preschool. So I've been a preschool teacher for a while. I have a ton of experience with kids. And what I've learned through my career is the biggest thing that we got to be teaching our kids is emotional regulation. If these kids can learn how to manage their emotions, they'll be able to do anything. Get them in the higher centers of their brain, and they can learn and they can think, and the education will just come. But the education does not come if kids are dysregulated and spending their time pissed off, angry, sad, upset, volatile, throwing chairs around the room and stuff like that. So I have in my class, I have 14 children, and there's 3 VPK classes at my school. So I'm prepping all these shells because we share, we plan together. So there's 50 shells, there's 42 kids. So I'm drilling all of them. So the 3 classes will share these for this week. In my class, I have 14 kids, and there's 2 teachers. So it's a pretty good ratio. DCF in my state, the ratio is like 15 to 1. So luckily, I have that extra teacher there. But even with 2 teachers, it's really challenging. You have some kids that have a lot of emotional difficulties. You have some kids that are on the spectrum but are not diagnosed because it's pre-K and they're really young. So things start coming out in preschool. So you have parents that don't necessarily know, if their child is needing assessments, because that's all the parent sees. As a teacher, we see everything. We see all the kids, and we notice immediately within the first minute of meeting any of the kids, we can tell if there's something going on. For a parent, that's all they see. They see their kid, and their kid is who they are, and that's it. They don't see the wide range of different kids and where, you would expect kids to be with certain things. I think that a frustrating part about being a teacher is when we see these things that are standing out, it's really difficult to get the parent to see the same things that we see to get the kid the help that they need. And we have a lot of issues with parents in denial about what's going on with their kids. And some parents are really on top of it and fantastic, and they're on board and they get it. And at the end of the day, your kid is who they are, and they will be who they are for the rest of their lives. And you can either see it and acknowledge it and then get your kid the help that they need, and you'll see them make huge progress, or be in denial about it and make your life harder because you're not getting the support that you need to make your kid's life easier. And it just makes everybody's lives harder. Like, that denial is so difficult to push through if you're a parent with a kid that needs extra help. Like, that denial is painful and real and hard. I have, a couple kids that need a little bit of assistance, and some of the parents are fantastic. Other parents are a little bit tricky to work with. But overall, I would say I have fantastic parents, and the kids are great. I have one particular child who has been having some problems with just a lot of anger outbursts. And this could be coming from stuff at home. It could be coming from like undiagnosed things going on. I'm a teacher. I can't diagnose anything. And also these are 4 and 5-year-olds. So some of these things, like I said at the beginning, don't start getting recognized until about this age. So I want to tell you a story about how I handled his big outburst, what we did with it, and how it resolved the situation. So this kid was super, super mad. He was lining up. He was not doing what he was supposed to be doing. And he was like wrestling with another kid in line. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to give out smelly treats to everybody who's lined up. And smelly treats, it's a flavored chapstick that I just swipe on their hand. And it smells really good, so they can just smell it. And it's like a little sensory treat for these kids. So he wasn't doing what he was supposed to be doing. Gave him a chance. He still wasn't doing it. So I'm like, okay, you guys can't get the smelly treat. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. So then as the rest of the kids were lining up, he messed up again and started wrestling even more. I'm like, okay, now we're going to sit together at lunch. And when these kids are having a hard time, I bring them closer in. So I sit with them at lunch so that I can sit one-on-one with them. We can chat. We can be together to give them that one-on-one attention that they need, so they know that they're not being punished. I'm bringing them closer. And this pissed him off. He was so mad, stomping up and down the halls, arms locked up, like crossing over his chest. And he was furious, so mad. And when we got back to the classroom, I had been reading them a book called Riley's Roaring Mad something. I found it on Amazon, and it's a book that shows like that it's okay to be angry. We still have to keep it safe even when we're angry. And so I'm like, we just read this book yesterday, so do you want to like shake your hands? Do you want to count? Like, how do you want to get the mad out? He's like, I don't want to do any of that. I just want to yell. I'm like, that sounds fantastic. So I had his jacket in my hand, so I balled it up into a little ball. So I'm like, take your jacket, put it against your mouth, and scream as loud as you can into your jacket. And he's like, really? Really? So he went over into Safe Place, and Safe Place is like our like cozy corner where the kids go if they need help with emotional regulation. So he went over to Safe Place, and he just screamed into this jacket. And after 2 screams, he was cracking up. All the other kids were cracking up. They thought it was the funniest thing ever. So it turned into like this really funny moment where immediately the anger was gone. He regulated himself right away, and he made everybody laugh. And it was this moment of like connecting. Instead of punishing this kid who was already having a really hard time regulating, he was pissed. And kids, when they're mad, punishing them when they're mad just makes things so much harder for them. It just escalates and escalates and escalates and keep going. And then at the end of the day, they go home, and now they're dysregulated at their house, and now they're getting in trouble at home. So the next day they're dysregulated. So all these punishments that teachers do is just really, really difficult, especially with a kid that comes from places that are punishing. And I'm not saying this child particularly is. I'm not really sure what their home environment is like. But I found it to be, I didn't know how impactful it would be to give him the space to scream. Because once I allowed that space for him to get the mad out, it was gone, and it wasn't controlling him anymore, and he was back to himself, and he was a pleasure to be around again. So I think as teachers, we need to give our kids space. We need to give our kids the space to feel their feelings, the space to know that whatever they're feeling is fine. And however they're feeling is fine, and they're accepted and they're loved no matter what. Because once they feel accepted unconditionally, you're going to see amazing things happen. I have these kids who were struggling to write their names when I first came into the class back in like December, who are writing their names now, and who are struggling to cut, and now they're cutting right on the line, who were having a hard time holding a pen or holding a pencil, and now they're holding the pencil, who were having a hard time saying please or excuse me or apologizing if they mess up, and now without me even saying something, they're apologizing. They're cleaning up the classroom without being asked. They're just bringing so much life and light and safety into this room because I'm giving them space to feel and noticing it when they do helpful things and when they're doing something that they're supposed to be doing. and it just lights up the whole room. And I think that I'm going to be making some videos about just talking about these experiences, sharing stories, because I think it'll help other teachers kind of get a better framework for how to handle situations similar to what I'm seeing. And I would love to keep talking about this. This is my passion. Teaching kids emotional literacy is my passion. You know, I love it. Conscious discipline is what I'm trained in. So here, all the shells are done. That's 50 of them. It only took like 11 minutes. Super, super easy. So I'm going to put another video showing you what these guys look painted like when we paint them later this week. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like, comment, favorite, all that good stuff. Bye.